from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Moin Hettiarachchi.
And I'm Delanjali Anand. These are the top stories making headlines for tonight.
Central Bank Governor says the domestic debt optimization process has been prepared without causing any impact on the banking system in the country. President hints at a possible resumption of the suspended development projects. Financial assistance worth $700 million extended to Sri Lanka. President instructs the relevant authorities to implement the Aswasama program, ensuring that no one is unjustly treated or left behind. Validity period of the temporary driving licenses extended. Presumed human remains found in wreckage as debris of the Titan sub is brought ashore. On to those and other stories in detail. On today's top story, Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe says the domestic debt optimization proposals have been prepared without causing any impact on the banking system in the country. Depositors owe deposits under the domestic debt optimization.
The central bank governor assured the public that the existing employee provident fund would remain untouched. He made these remarks during a special press briefing held at the Presidential Media Centre this morning on domestic debt optimization. Secretary of the Finance Ministry, Mahinda Siriwardana, was also present at the occasion. Addressing the media briefing, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe emphasised the importance of relieving the existing burden on the banking system through the cabinet-approved proposed domestic debt optimization process. The central bank governor made remarks over the intention behind the 5-day bank holiday.
I think that's a misunderstanding. So, you as a, respected financial journalist would know when these things are announced, and there could be a lot of speculation, manipulation in the markets if markets are kept open. So that's the main reason why Friday was announced as a holiday. Because all approval will be obtained after the Parliament approval. In between there will be a lot of discussion, but obviously proposal is out, it's a proposal. Not yet approved by the Parliament properly in legal terms. So until then there could be a speculation because those are market trading. In one hand, treasury bonds can be traded in the market, and on the other hand, bank stocks can be traded in the market on the speculation and manipulation. So just to prevent that kind of a market panic, speculation, stabilize the markets, that's the reason we wanted to announce Friday as a holiday, that markets would not function. That's the only reason, nothing to do with the banking system concerns or stability. So why we announced, because there's a lot of speculation even before that there will be an impact on public deposits, a lot of inquiries about whether they need to withdraw their money from the banks. Just to settle those concerns, that's why I came out and explained the reason for this announcement of the public holiday is to complete this domestic debt optimization process properly within a proper time period, and so that can be discussed publicly, can have debate in the Parliament committees, and finally approve and announce the strategy and launch the strategy on the first working day before markets open. That's the whole idea. Our position is that their banks are already, we don't want to take the risk of bank run. What is the cost of the bank run? Who is going to lose the value of their deposits? Whole country will suffer if there's a bank run. The economy will collapse, all depositors will lose their money. We know the examples of, for example, small finance companies like ETR, the finance, Golden Key collapse had an impact on certain section of people who held deposits. The whole country people's, their savings are going to be basically going to be affected like this, that way. What is the cost? No one can imagine that kind of cost. That's why it's important to protect the public deposits through the banking system. That's where banking holdings for banks have been excluded.
He shared comments regarding the Sri Lanka development bonds.
Briefly, what we have proposed is there are three parts. The central bank holdings will be restructured. Treasury bills will be exchanged for treasury bonds, for longer term treasury bonds. I think there's a grace period of 5 years and then maturity extension for treasury bills held by central bank. Second part, the bank treasury bonds held by banks would not be entitled for the exchange. Those are excluded for reason that I already explained, because they are paying higher taxes. The bank system already make a contribution in terms of their contribution to the economy. So what we are suggesting is to offer a pre-bond exchange for treasury bonds held by superannuation funds, including EPF, for which what government is offering is what they call step-down coupon. There will be new bonds issued in exchange of older bonds held by superannuation funds. Those new bonds will carry 12% coupon until 2025 and thereafter 9% over a longer period. And there will be 12 instruments maturing from 2027 to 2038. And until 2027, interest all will be paid at this rate, and this proposal will ensure EPF can pay at least 9% return to their members, and also their balances, whatever balances they are having now, will not be reduced at all. They will maintain the same balance. They will get 9% return going forward in the future, and depending on their investment going forward, they can even earn higher return on the new bonds. Those will be issued if they invest in those bonds. For the SLDB and SCBUs, the offer is that there are two offers. First one, exchange of outstanding SLDBs again new US dollar instruments. If they want to get US dollar instrument, there are two instruments. One is what we are offering, nominal haircut of 30%, 6-year final maturity, interest is 4%. That's first one. Other one is 15-year final maturity, it's a longer repayment, no nominal haircut, but longer maturity from 2030. Final maturity 2030 is 9-year grace period, interest 1.5%. And the third option, this is LKR option, Lankarapi option, which will, under that option, government will offer 10-year final maturity, maturing in 2033. There are no grace period. Interest rates will be floating interest rates, this policy rate plus 1%. So past due interest all will be added up, and that can be settled later. So those are three options for SLDB holders.
The central bank governor also made remarks over the interest rates pertaining to the Employees Provident Fund.
So EPF, this is in terms of bond exchange. EPF can provide a return of 9%. Market interest rates are for new investment now.
Yeah.
If you look at the whole portfolio of say 3 trillion, whole portfolio cannot be repriced at market current interest rates. So whenever they still can earn higher return if they invest for their new funds. That's up to the EPF.
At the same time, are you all considering to diversify the investment through some other means, EPF, ETF investment?
No, that's up to the EPF investment committee to determine. That's completely different independent process. EPF can make their own decisions where to invest, how to invest in new instruments or diversify. That's a different thing. It has nothing to do with this thing. This is about bond exchange, that what they are holding now would be exchanged to new bonds. New series of bonds which had longer maturity and 12% interest at the beginning and 9% thereafter. Any new investment, that's up to the EPF to decide that based on their investment strategies.
He shared views regarding the completion of the bond exchange and the new bond auction.
Bond exchange we intend to complete within the month of July, and there will be notice issued soon after the approval of the Parliament. On first day, the exchange will be launched, and then there will be timelines for them to give their consent or whatever the option, and then we are hoping the bond exchange can be completed by the end of July.
Meantime, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that high interest rates negatively affected the business sector will decline in the near future. The President also hinted over the possible resumption of the suspended development projects.
Best is to go out and explain what this debt restructuring means to you all and to the workforce. I think that's what you all can do. If you can keep that momentum in the next few days, it will be very, very helpful. But this is about the best that we can achieve. With this comes the fact that our interest rates will come down. It's a matter of months before it comes down. Secondly, the development assistance will start, which will be a boost for part of the construction sector.
So SLB welcomes the classification or excluding banks from the DDO. But when you look at, and also I understand that with the current proposal, we can reach the GFN targets. That's critical. And also this is a huge debt relief from a cash outflow perspective. The only challenge, the way I look at it from a revenue standpoint and expenditure standpoint, still government will have a serious concern in terms of paying interest for the domestic debts. So the revenue broadening would be critical for the government. We have to increase tax files. I don't think we can run with the current tax base and reach the targets.
From the private sector, from Ceylon Chamber's point of view, I think this is probably the best thing that could have happened, especially protecting the banking system, because otherwise already struggling economy, we would have struggled with the banks having to have other issues. But having said that, hopefully the banks will now start making cheaper funds available to the private sector. I think that has been not coming forth, so we really look forward to that happening. This way investments can continue. I think everything has come to a standstill in the last 18 to 24 months. So the economy to move forward, we need cheaper funds to coming into the private sector.
We believe that bringing in some kind of relief for the capital of basically the interest payments what we are making right now will definitely add value and promote the investments and continuity of the private sector. Because right now we see many small and medium and also the large private sector are closing down and looking at various other markets to move in, but we will have to look at retaining them internally, because we have seen number of large companies who have been in the trade for more than 30-40 years are closing down. So we will have to address something here, particularly when you look at the energy sector. We will have to give some kind of solution there, and restructuring of CEB must take a primary role within the next couple of months, so that at least there will be some consolation given to the private sector for them to continue their business in an affordable manner and an internationally competitive manner.
I would like to congratulate the government for having pulled this off. It's definitely a big relief, like, as you came in, and I think the question we have to ask you is how can we do, what help does the government need from us? What are the things that we should do and not do that you would like us to take back from this meeting?
The World Bank Board approved $700 million in financing for Sri Lanka.
The relevant fund facility has been extended in budgetary and welfare support for the country. The new fund facility was extended following an agreement reached between the Sri Lankan government and the World Bank. The new financial assistance program initiated subsequent to the IMF Extended Fund Facility Sri Lanka. Accordingly, $500 million of the funds expected to be allocated for budgetary support in restoring macroeconomic stability and sustainability, while $200 million will be allocated for the welfare process to mitigate the impact of current and future shocks on the poor and vulnerable from the extended World Bank tranche.
Minister Ali Sabri shed light on the dire consequences of the mounting debt crisis when addressing the climate change, education, energy transition and other sustainable goals. He said that in a globalized world, no country or economy is safe within their borders and all should work together to resolve the persisting issue. The Foreign Minister made these remarks while participating in the 2023 annual meeting of the new champions of the World Economic Forum held in China.
The International Institute of Finance puts global debt and the pile of that at $305 trillion. It ballooned out to $8.3 trillion in Q1 of this year, and that's $45 trillion more than pre-pandemic levels. But let's put this into context. How concerning do you think this is? And I think the rising problems in terms of the cost of being able to service that debt.
If I take it from there onward, it's exactly what is our problem. Emerging economics like Sri Lanka and the frontier economies, you need money, you need to have access to the capital. But right now what is happening is because of the inflation, they are tightening the interest policies, as a result of which money is not flowing this way around, it's flowing the other way around. So therefore there is no new funding coming into the emerging market, as a result of which emerging markets and the countries like Sri Lanka and the middle-income countries have to borrow from the local market at a very high interest rate. So there is huge pressure on the local currencies and there is depreciation taking place. So I'm sure there is a lot to learn from the Sri Lankan experience last year. For example, our debt servicing last year was about 160% of our entire revenue for the year. So this Sri Lanka probably was the first country, but unfortunately I don't see it be the last country. So unless there is some global debt architecture to address these emerging threats and everybody get together and do that, there is about 50 to 60 countries under really debt stress.
And I think the takeaway is that there are many countries with different struggles and different needs. And I want to put that to you, just using that as an example, how problematic is that? And which countries do you think?
In my opinion, both are intertwined because of the financial crisis, you can't actually put your funding into other most important areas such as education, climate change, sustainable energy, renewable energy, because you are grappling with your interest payment and your debt payment. So where is the money for you to put it into other sustainable development goals? So this is affecting the whole world. There is cascading effect. So that's what we are saying, just like during the pandemic. No one is safe until everyone is safe. You can't say that I'm safe within my borders. This is more globalized world. I think all of us must get together and think of it. Otherwise, whatever you do, you need to get a new market for looking for growth. So that market will come from the developing world or the emerging economy. So therefore, this is interconnected and intertwined all over the globe. I think that's an area that we need more attention.
My question is on corruption, unsustainable debt, unsustainable projects, and rampant corruption. While most of the Sri Lankan protesters spoke about the corruption in Sri Lanka, the autocratic family rule and the corruption. How are you going to address corruption in Sri Lanka? Corruption is an endemic issue in some part of our country. Right now we are coming out with a new architecture in Hong Kong style, like the anti-corruption law, which is in the parliament, and hopefully we have also learned from the past some of the, though the law had been there, implementation had been bad, because most of the time by law, you have to appoint retired judges of Supreme Court. They are 65 years old. So by the time they come into the place, they have lost steam in their life. So we are looking at all those things and learning from the past, and it has to be done. And other most important thing is we are working with the IMF, and they have wanted autonomy to the central bank. A new central bank law is coming in, and then there is fiscal responsibility law which is also coming in. And digitalization is one way of trying to prevent human touch as much as possible. But I can say, though it is our desire to eliminate corruption, you can't do it overnight. It will take time. You know that if you are coming from Sri Lanka and in our region. But what we could do is to attack it, reduce it into a pragmatic level, and then over a period of time with the development in other countries like this, when there is more transparency, more accountability, more digital intervention and good laws and improvement on the judiciary, hopefully we will one day eliminate it. I do agree with you, it's a huge issue for us and we need to tackle it.
Eid al-Adha, Hajj, which recalls the humanity's quality of giving, falls today.
Muslims around the world are celebrating the festival. Known as the Feast of Sacrifice, the festival coincides with the final observances of the sacred Hajj pilgrimage. This festival commemorates the Prophet Ibrahim and his family's quality of giving through Hajj worship. It is important that the devotees who are mentally and physically healthy to engage in the Hajj pilgrimage based on the lifestyles preached by the Holy Prophet. The festival emphasizes the congregation, camaraderie and virtues of the global Muslim community to the rest of the world. The President Ranil Wickremesinghe says through the unwavering dedication, sacrifice and patience of the citizens, Sri Lanka was able to overcome the challenges faced in the recent times.
He invited all citizens to join hands during this Hajj festival and to be united in a common cause to achieve domestic, regional and global goals. Issuing a message to mark the Hajj festival, the President said that these are challenging times, and as the country strives for a future filled with renewed hope, the advent of the Hajj festival this year is for extreme significance. The collective efforts, interventions and participation of everyone are crucial to overcoming the economic and social difficulties that are being currently faced. As a nation celebrates this joyous Hajj festival, the President in his message reminded the present generation as well as the elderly on the importance of not passing on the burdens of hardship to the future peer groups. Instead, he urged all to nurture them as a proud nation, one that is respected by the global community while ensuring sustainable happiness. The Prime Minister, issuing the message to mark the Hajj festival, has indicated the values of Hajj strengthening the noble values of peaceful coexistence, tolerance and harmony among the people. On this important occasion of Hajj, he emphasized that all should reaffirm their commitment to further strengthen a peaceful coexistence, friendship and brotherhood among people. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa, issuing a message on the Hajj festival, said that the primary objective of the festival is to instill equality, brotherhood and benevolent thoughts among the people. He also said the festival strengthens social values, builds harmony and reflects on good deeds.
Now, new members have been appointed for the Election Commission and the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission.
The relevant appointments have been made by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Accordingly, the President has appointed retired Supreme Court Judge L.T.B. Dehidenia as the Chairman of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka. The newly appointed members of the Human Rights Commission include Nimalsena Gadia Pundiheva, Thaindimuthu Tanaraj, Professor Fatima Farzan Hanifa and Dr. Gehan Dinuk Gunatilaka. Simultaneously, former Additional Commissioner General of the Election Commissions, R.M.A.L. Ratnayaka, has been appointed as the Chairman of the Election Commission. Other members of the Election Commission are M.A. Patmasiri and Chandravansha Pereira and Amir Mohammed Faiz. Meanwhile, Air Vice Marshal Udeni Rajpaksha has been appointed as the post of the Air Force Commander. President's Secretary Saman Ekanayake handed over the appointment letter to AAVM Rajpaksha at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. In recognition of his exceptional service and in line with his new appointment as the Commander, President Ranil Wickremesinghe has promoted Air Vice Marshal Udeni Rajpaksha to the rank of Air Marshal effective from midnight today. As the 19th Air Force Commander of the country, Air Vice Marshal Udeni Rajpaksha is a past student of Ananda College, Colombo, and the first Air Force Commander appointed from Ananda College. His journey began in 1988 when he joined the Kothalawala Defence College as a cadet, and subsequently he excelled in flight training at the Anuradhapura Camp number 1, achieving the distinction of being the best cadet in the 33rd Cadet Course.
Now, the 11th Perahera of the Kataragama Asla Festival parade the streets tonight.
Surindari Khatragama 2023 official media partner Hajj Rupavahini. Today is the 11th day of the annual Asala festival of Ruhunu Khatragama Mahadevalaya. It is important to be noted that every ritual performed at the Khatragama Mahadevalaya are also performed at the Valliamma Devalaya. So some of these rituals are being performed today and some of them are to be performed tomorrow as well. In the meantime, today in the afternoon we witnessed fire kabaddi or Agni kabaddi dancing. In the meantime, we witnessed more than 20 tuskers and elephants parading the procession today. So with that, we'll be back with the updates for tomorrow. And this is Cheta Bandaramanike for Hajj Rupavahini. Thank you.
Today is the 7th day of the Khanda Surindu homage program.
ප්‍රධාන අනුග්‍රහය රටක් පුබුදන රයිගම් දෙවැනි එක 100% සහල් නූඩල්ස් කදිර දිව්‍ය රාජ චිත්‍රපටය අගෝස්තු 3 වනදා සිට
The decision has been reached to increase the price of lottery from 20 rupees to 40 rupees. The National Lotteries Board and the Development Board of Lotteries said that the new prices will come into effect from this July 6th under the approval of the Ministry of Finance. The low profitability contributed by the high expenditure pertaining to the existing lottery sales operations in market has led to a decision to increase the prices. The Lotteries Board have said that the objective of the price increase is to improve the benefits extended to the President's Fund and the Mahapula Higher Education Fund and to increase the contributions or to uplift the sectors such as agriculture, education and health.
The remains of senior producer of national television and veteran teledrama director late Gaya Ramya Alves are kept at his residence at present.
The final rites will be held tomorrow evening at Eldenia Public Cemetery. Gaya Ramya Alves was 51 years of age at his demise. He was the younger son of veteran lyricist Dalton Alves, joining the drama unit of the national television as a production assistant in 1994. Late Gaya Ramya Alves served as an assistant director and a producer in dramas. He embarked in his journey in the country's teledrama field with his first teledrama, Miringuthera, in 1998. He was awarded the Emerging Teledrama Director of the Year for his debut drama. Teledramas such as Ran Sirimal and Colombo Asa are considered some of his best telecreations. Late Gaya Ramya Alves, who has shown his virtuosity as a lyricist, author and a visiting lecturer at the Aesthetic University, had been awarded with many accolades throughout his journey. The very successful Acting Academy program that recently initiated through the national television in an effort to find talents of tomorrow was a concept of the late producer. The remains of late Gaya Ramya Alves are kept at his residence in number 20-64 Green Terrace, Imbulgoda, Parakandenia.
We'll be back with international news after this break.
வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து பணத்தை மக்கள் வங்கிக்கு அனுப்பி வாராந்தம் 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய், மாதாந்தம் 1 மில்லியன் ரூபாய், ஆண்டிறுதியில் மாபெரும் சீட்டிலிப்பில் 1 கோடி ரூபாயினை வெல்லுங்கள். பீப்பிள்ஸ் ரெமிட்டன்ஸ் கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம். நேரடியாக அனுப்புங்கள், பெரும் வெற்றி காணுங்கள்.
මානුවර පොත්දැක්ව 2023 ජූලි 26 සිට ජූලි 2 වෙනිදා දක්වා පෙරවරු 9 සිට පස්වරු 7 දක්වා කැන්ඩි සිටි සෙන්ටරෙහිදී සංවිධානය ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොත් ප්‍රකාශකින්ගේ සංගමය.
On foreign news, the U.S. Coast Guard says that presumed human remains have been found within the wreckage of the Titan submersible. Pieces from the sub, which imploded on a deep dive to the Titanic, were unloaded in St. John's, Canada. Officials say the sub's landing frame and a rear cover were found among the debris. It was reported that the U.S. medical professionals will conduct a formal analysis of presumed remains. The Coast Guard's Marine Board of Investigation will transport the evidence to the UA port for further analysis and testing.
Now to sports news. On cricketing news, the Sri Lanka's first match in the Super 6 stage of the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifying tournament will be held tomorrow. Sri Lanka will face Netherlands.
Sri Lanka competed from Group B in the preliminary stage of the tournament and managed to reach the table top with 8 points. Accordingly, Sri Lanka reached the Super 6 stage of the tournament with 4 points after defeating Scotland and Oman in the group stage. Matches in the Super 6 stage will be held as a league. Accordingly, Sri Lanka will compete against Netherlands tomorrow.
That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us.